So you're thinking about making a move to Tacoma and you've got it on the brain, but you really don't know anything about what life is like living here in Tacoma. Well, if that is you, then this video is perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into Google Maps and walk you through every single step of what it's like living here in Tacoma, show you some of the suburbs where our clients are moving to, and hopefully show you that Tacoma is the right spot for you. But more importantly, it might show you that it's not a good fit, and we're getting after it right now. Chris, myself, and our team, we're getting phone calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move out here to Tacoma. So whether you're looking to make your move in the next 3 days or the next 3 months, shoot us a phone call, text, or an email so we can help make that smooth move out here to Tacoma. And we're diving right now into the maps. All right, so here we are inside of the map book. And you can see, really we've got the outline of Tacoma here kind of outlined for you on the map, so you can get kind of a general idea of where it is. Now, a lot of people think once you kind of get across the bay, they always kind of ride off Browns Point right here, but Browns Point is an absolutely amazing location. So that is also a part of Tacoma. Now, Comiskey Bay does kind of separate the city. It's about 13 miles right there in the middle, kind of creating that big bay. So that's where Comiskey Bay is. Before we dive really into Tacoma, let me show you just some key things that you need to know. So number one, if you do need to get into the city for work, you can pretty much take I-5 all the way up to Seattle, and you're going to be there between 45 minutes to 1 hour. That's kind of the standard right now for driving, okay? Now, outside of that, if you are, maybe you need to take a ride up to the airport, you can take I-5 up and come back down and hit SeaTac. That's going to be closer to about a 35-minute drive. So whether you're needing to get into Seattle, whether you're needing to get to SeaTac, those are both really important things. A lot of people that move here end up having to fly in and out for work. So that is one that those are a couple things that I think are really, really important for you to know. Now, on the other hand, I also think a big attraction, one thing that draws a lot of people to the Tacoma area is if you're like me, you like the outdoors. If you're like me and you have kiddos, then especially, right? Because now we're trying to find things that maybe don't cost as much. So Mount Rainier National Park is a huge attraction here in the Tacoma area. And Mount Rainier National Park has a couple different sides to it. So it really depends on the type of hike, what you're into. So two different ways you can get there. Like one, you can pretty much come straight down here through South Creek, Eatonville, come around Ashford, and then up and in. Now this way is going to take you, a little bit over an hour and 30 minutes from Tacoma. There are some really nice long hikes there, stunning views on that south end, and it's a completely different face of Mount Rainier than what we typically see here in Tacoma. Now, the other end is you can actually take the 410, which comes and goes right through Bonnie Lake, Buckley, Enumclaw. Actually, all this right here is actually considered pretty much Enumclaw. And the 410 will come down and around to the Sunrise end where like Tipsoo Lake is, and it's a beautiful drive driving through the Cascades right there. You can see a lot of amazing sights. It doesn't cost you anything to go in there. It doesn't cost you any money. You can just go into the national park and explore. It's absolutely stunning and very, very much worth it. Now, when we look at Tacoma in general, we have a lot of people that are relocating, and it always starts off one of two ways. Typically, people say Seattle, right? They say Seattle because everybody thinks that all of Western Washington, for some reason, is Seattle. That, or they end up saying Tacoma, right? The reality is what we're seeing is that people are kind of, for the most part, moving actually to neither one. They're really kind of moving into this mid space, this area right here of like Des Moines and Maple Valley, down through Lake Tapps, Auburn, Bonnie Lake, Tahale, all the way over to Enumclaw. This seems to be like the bigger area that we're seeing more and more people relocate to. And I think the big reason for that is just simply that you split the difference between Seattle and Tacoma. So if you're looking at moving into Tacoma proper, we're going to dive into that. But where we're seeing a lot of people end up at is these areas right here, right between Seattle and Tacoma. Kent is kind of your midway place. Kent is about 19 miles away from Seattle, right? So if you're going to Seattle, it is essentially 19 miles to get from Kent to Seattle, and it's 19 miles to get from Kent to Tacoma. So that has been a more and more increasingly popular place for people to purchase homes, along with Auburn. Auburn has been growing a lot. Kent and Auburn were actually two of the largest real estate markets in the last 12 months, mostly because you can still get a really great home, but you're not paying $1 million+ like you would if you were to buy one in Seattle. Now, as you travel more to the south, these home prices are going to decrease. It's going to get a lot cheaper. So that creates a massive, massive appeal to living inside of Tacoma. Now, Tacoma is broken down into several different sections. You've got, North Tacoma, West Tacoma, South Tacoma, and essentially Browns Point over here. These are going to be some of the top areas. Ruston is great. Fircrest, UP is a fantastic suburb. But let's look at kind of what you need to know about Tacoma. So let's just kind of start at the top. So up here at the very top, you have Point Defiance, Zoo and Aquarium. So again, guys, I've got 5 kids. I love animals. I'm a huge fan of aquatic life. We do see sometimes we see whales come through right through here in Commencement Bay. We see them, just swimming, cruising around. People have caught sharks off the piers down here. Lots of wildlife, seals. Up here by the ferry, I've actually had quite a few experiences where I've caught seals up there and been able to kind of play with them back and forth, and it's a really neat experience. So, Point Defiance Zoo and Park. This up here is actually the second largest city park in the entire United States, just next to Central Park in New York City. Owen Beach is a fantastic place to hang out, swim. There's a 5-mile loop here, so great for walking. Much like Central Park, though, I'm going to tell you, like the firefighter in me, being a retired firefighter, not a huge fan of anybody walking out in a big park late at night. I think it's dangerous. So if you're going to do this, let's keep it during the day. But Owen Beach is super awesome there. You also have the zoo and aquarium right there. So you can see some of these zoo and aquarium pictures for Point Defiance. Nice to have that in town. You don't have to travel up to Seattle. So if you got the kiddos and you have nothing to do on the weekend or just you want to hang out, that's a really great option. Now, up here we have the ferry. So this is really where the ferries take off and they're going to head out to Vashon Island. Now, Vashon Island is not a place that we see a lot of people, move to. It is a big island, as you can see as I zoom out here. But it's, very few people spread throughout here. Now, the cool thing is great honey, great little local restaurants, and honestly, some of the sweetest people in the entire Pacific Northwest live on Vashon Island. So again, if you have a day off and you're just looking for a cute cup of coffee, want to go check out, an amazing lighthouse, the Point Robinson lighthouse area is really neat. But this area, I don't really see a lot of people moving to. Some of that struggle is, if you take a ferry to and from work, like let's say you're going into Fauntleroy or that West Seattle, or you're coming into Tacoma, I've really seen people that have told me they're stuck for 4, 5, or 6 cycles on the ferry waiting to get out to Vashon Island. So if island living is something that you're interested in, I'm not going to necessarily discourage you from it by any means, but we need to have that conversation and talk about what that really looks like. And then out here north, there's this road, Ruston Way, that runs. It's about 2 miles. It kind of comes from Old Town, all the way up to about Point Defiance. And this is a super popular area for people who are really into fitness. They love jogging. There's, of course, everything is, views of the water the whole way across. And there is, jogging paths that follow the whole thing. Plus, there's just everywhere you go, there's like parks, like park, 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 park. And as you move through this, it's an incredible amount of parks and views. Here's the historic Ruston Ferry. It's kind of a little landmark there. You can see there she is there. That's a pretty cool thing. You're getting into Point Ruston at that point. Now, one of the things that has really changed in this Ruston area is what is called Point Ruston. This is probably the number one visited place for my family. The movie theater that we like to go to is out here. Stack 571 is right next door, so you can get a really killer cheeseburger. There's also a local market up here. So, farmers markets, you don't have to travel all the way up to Pike Place. You've got one right here at Tacoma. There is an urgent care here. And there are some incredible condominiums right now that are getting built, that have been built out here at Point Ruston. There's all these big, giant Baker condominiums and things that overlook Commencement Bay. Incredible views. Not only that, but you're super close to everything. Like you can get out here and you can grab a little scooter and take your little scooter and just kind of trudge your way through here. There's people out looking, enjoying the water, the waterfront. You can come up and grab yourself ice cream and then, sit here and watch the sunset. Grab your ice cream, sit here and watch the sun go down. Copper and Salt is a fantastic restaurant here in Point Ruston. So, you always have great places to eat. This is a really cool place to go. Water views, aquatic life, good restaurants. Man, this is a fantastic spot. So, if you're looking at condominium living, here's definitely one I would check out. More of the rest of the condominiums are going to be kind of downtown. But this is something that's really growing and getting a lot more popular. All right, as we zoom out a little bit here, you can see this is Ruston. This in kind of area here. This is going to have some older homes that were built, 50, 60 years ago. Really pretty. A lot of like cottage type looking areas. Ruston's got this antique sandwich shop is stunning. You can kind of see some of these houses here in Ruston. We'll just kind of trudge our way down the street, right? This cute little style of home. Incredible landscaping in this area. People really spend a lot of time and effort just taking care of their properties. As we trudge down here, you can see some of these homes are smaller, kind of that Pacific Northwest style. A little bit bigger lots than you're going to see in certain portions of town. And as we come down here more, we're going to kind of move into, northeastern Tacoma, the north end, Yakima Hill spaces. As you come right through here, Top Pot Donuts, man, this place is fire. I don't know if you've ever had Top Pot Donuts or not, but golly, it's pretty dang good. There's few places that I enjoy more than Top Pot Donuts. If you've watched my videos, I take the kids out typically on the weekends and grab a donut. So that's one you definitely need to know about. And Top Pot kind of sits at the top of this Proctor district here. Now, Proctor is probably one of the most adorable parts of Tacoma. And, I don't use the word adorable often, but I think that the Proctor district really is someplace that hits home. So it's got really, really good safety ratings. It's got fantastic schools. It has a lot of that unique culture inside of the properties that you're probably looking for moving out this way. It's got the Metropolitan Market. Gotta get the cookie. Oh my God, it is so good. Obviously, Metropolitan Market and a Safeway right there. So you got two grocery stores right within the same space. It does have a cute community garden, and there's a lot of local businesses. There's like the P&W shop. T-Town, tons of little restaurants all right here. You'll often see people sitting outside of Olympia Coffee, really cute area, really up and coming. So if you're working with maybe a little bit more money, this is a fantastic space to be more towards the middle of town, and you're not too far away from University of Puget Sound, which is an amazing school. Now, out here to the east, you're going to hit Old Town. Old Town has some of the best old homes all throughout Tacoma. Now, look, you're going to pay to live out here. You're going to pay to live um, in Old Town, but these properties are incredible. Coming down these hills here, like you're driving down any of these roads, because it's coming off of the hill, the majority of these homes will have some form of a waterfront, meaning that you can, or sorry, not a waterfront, but it has a water view. So you can see water forever. There are some really cool, unique roads, unique old homes. A lot of people are buying these homes up and they are just kind of revamping them, putting new siding. This is probably one of my favorite areas um, in the entire city of Tacoma. As we plug along, we kind of move into the Stadium District. Now, Stadium High School, you've probably seen before. These pictures look kind of familiar. It was the high school in 10 Things I Hate About You. So it gets a lot of, popularity. The Stadium Bowl's there. So Bailey plays tennis sometimes out at Stadium. And the walkout there is pretty cool. It's a really neat area. You're really close to the Antiques District out here if you choose to live in this space. And you're right by one of my favorite spots, which is LaSalle. So right here, LaSalle Bistro. This is an amazing French brunch spot. Again, it's up high, overlooks the water. They have the best filet mignon eggs Benedict I've ever freaking had. And you just, oh my God, you've got to try it. Even if you come here for a day on a vacation, come to Seattle for a day on vacation, book this up. But you got to do it like 2 weeks in advance. Otherwise, you're really not getting in. Obviously, right here, you have Wright Park, which is a massive park system right in the middle of Tacoma. Beautiful views there, a lot of pictures, things like that you take at that spot. And then next to it, you have, your major hospital, right? Multicare Tacoma. So if you're looking at getting a job in the health field, kind of being somewhere around this space would probably be a good option. Also, a lot of this space, tends to start being kind of expensive. You're still in that north end, so you're still in that pricier range. So, you're gonna have to just suck it up and move close to here if you're gonna be working in healthcare. Of course, south, we also have St. Joseph's, medical center here. Now, these two are very different when you look at the areas. So St. Joseph is going to be closer to Hilltop. You're going to see lower home prices here. This is going to be closer to, Yakima Hill and Stadium District. So you're going to pay more money to live closer to multi-care than you will St. Joseph. So, this are a couple things to just ultimately be aware of when you're looking at shopping. Now, 6th Avenue, this area right here is one of our best commercial districts. If you have seen the Living in Tacoma, Washington video, and I'm playing that right now, then of course it starts off on 6th Avenue. And 6th Avenue is kind of that, for me, it's the main street, right? Main Street America. Obviously, in a city this size, it's not Main Street, but like back when I lived in Kansas, you could go on Main Street and you could literally hit everything that you needed, like small town America. So this isn't that, but here's some things about this area that I love. So Frisco Freeze has some of the best burgers you're ever going to experience. And as you work your way down 6th Ave, you really start to see, more really cool places. So Dirty Oscar's Annex. This spot right here is a place that Chris and I go all the time. Best drinks, great food. They have these stuffed, Parmesan tater tots that are sick. You got to try it out. They just had a fire there, which really stinks, but they did open a secondary location in Sumner. So if you can't get into this one, you can hit up that one there. Coming on down. So this place is closed, but Catfinated is literally a cat themed coffee shop, which has cats that you can pet in it. If you're into thrifting, Mission Thrift is pretty great. We went there. Finley ended up finding an entire pack of Seattle Mariners baseball cards. I only spent $3. We had Suzuki, Griffey, Randy Johnson, everybody in there for literally just a few bucks. Down a little bit more, you can see more and more restaurants. Primo Grill is top notch. Asada, top notch. Original Pancake House is one of my favorite spots to get breakfast in the mornings. All kinds of different pancakes, absolutely stunning. And then The Spot, Buzzards on 6th. Gentlemen, this is the barbershop. This is where I go to get my haircut. Like me personally, this is my spot. Okay. So, that's one of the hardest parts about moving is looking for a new barber. These guys crush it. In fact, there's my dude. That's Finley. That's my kid right there. Just getting his haircut like a total boss. Look at this guy. Man, I didn't even know the picture was going to pop up. How awesome is that? Guess that's what happens when you're in the city a lot. So we shopped and shopped and shopped and looked for a barber for a long time when we moved. And I really underestimated how important that was going to be. But as you can see, super important. Buzzards on 6th Avenue in Tacoma is your spot. Go see my dude, Chris. He'll get you all cleaned up. Going all the way down here, you got Forelli's Pizza. You just everything, man. Valhalla Coffee is a staple here in Tacoma. This is just the spot. This is just the spot. So knowing about 6 is important. Now, as we move more south in Tacoma, we do see a little less desire from our typical clients. Now, part of that is this system here. These roads end up being super busy. Like they're just, look at all these interchanges and this mess here, right? So people don't really tend to want to go south as much. And then, also if you look at anything with the history of Tacoma, you'll hear that this area right here, Hilltop, was infamous for gangs. Now that's true. There was a ton of gangs in Hilltop, but since then there's been, for lack of a better word, a ton of gentrification going on. There's fantastic arts. People are changing the homes. The dynamics are changing. A lot of that crime and stuff has moved away. So this is becoming a much better area, and you can get a home for a much, much cheaper rate than you are if you're, going to be looking up north. Now, outside of, Tacoma proper, there are a few suburbs to the west that get a ton of attention. Those two are going to be University Place and Fircrest. Now, for me personally, I kind of feel like Fircrest is hardly a suburb of Tacoma. It's right on the southwest side. You're literally like 2 minutes into town. Now you are close to the Tacoma. You are close to the Tacoma Community College, so there's that. But as you can see, like Tacoma does wrap back around right here at South Tacoma. So, I don't feel like you're far enough away to be a suburb, but there are some advantages. You can hop on 16 and be at I-5 and be at Costco, be at the Tacoma Mall. The REI is right here for all my hiking buddies and outdoor friends. All about that. This whole area is littered with good restaurants, more shopping. So you're closer to that kind of stuff. But when you look at University Place in general, UP is a different vibe altogether. So everything really, I would say, from Titlow Park, Tacoma Community College, and just kind of following this all down here through the Chambers Bay Golf Course really is one of the premier areas. Okay. This little island here brings in homes that are $1 million plus nonstop. As you can see, you've got some great parks sprinkled all throughout here, and Chambers Bay is stunning. I'm gonna pop up some B-roll of Chambers Bay or pictures I've taken on my phone because it is just gorgeous. UP also has a fantastic school district inside of it. It has a Trader Joe's, a Whole Foods. So if that doesn't kind of give you a vibe of what UP is like, definitely give me a holler. But, golf, waterfront properties, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. And here's the thing with UP, even having all this waterfront, it doesn't even come close, like not even close to what any of this waterfront up here is going to cost you. So, if you pick up any of this waterfront, you're paying crazy money. Any of this waterfront right here is still stunning, but it's just not going to cost you the same amount of money. You're looking at it easy, no matter what. Up here, you're, 1.5 to 4 mil. And here you're probably at more like 750 to 1 mil to be on the water. So you can see these areas have a lot of difference between, where you end up deciding to move. Now, last two things that I want to point out here is another area we get talked to a lot about is the Gig Harbor area. So this space right here, the Gig Harbor is a cute little town, about 10,000 people. You can see it's just across the bridge and you're into Tacoma. So it's really close. People really are kind of drawn to it. Every client we have from YouTube that is looking at Tacoma somehow always ends up in Gig Harbor. What I hear from them though is, they don't like having to drive across the bridge. Here's what really stinks about having to cross the Narrows Bridge is even if you live inside of Gig Harbor, if you live right here in Gig Harbor, if you got to cross the Narrows Bridge, there is no discount. I'm gonna say it again, there is no discount. This bridge was built and paid for by the taxpayers, and they charge the taxpayers to drive over it. So, if you're coming into, let's say maybe you're coming into town to work, you're going to cross the Narrows, boom, you got it. Now, what if a kid gets sick and you come back across? Got you again. Football game coming back, boom. It could be very easy to rack up $20+ on this bridge. My barber lives in Gig Harbor, and he's told me stories of spending over $30 in a day just driving across the Narrows Bridge. So, ultimately, if that's somewhere you want to look at, we do service that area. We do help you in that area, but I just don't want you getting tied up in that without seeing that shortcoming that, oh my gosh, like it really could be an expensive venture just crossing that bridge. It's majestic, but it's a lot less majestic when you spend $200 or $300, working out that way. Now, another area, if you look south from Tacoma, that gets a lot of attention and a lot of people that, really do want to make a move to is Olympia. Now, in fact, Olympia is our second largest market when it comes to YouTube. Not our second largest market as far as sales go, but as far as YouTube. And one of the reasons people are so drawn to it is one, it's a state capital. Two, you have a lot of amazing waterfront. It's a very artsy city. It's only about 55,000 people, tons of shopping, restaurants. Like you can live life very easily in Olympia. But a lot of people see this right here. They see this I-5 straight, easy shot up to Tacoma for work. Man, I can just hit I-5, cruise up there in 30 minutes, and I'm set. It's going to be nothing. Okay, here's what people miss out on is JBLM, the military base, is right here. We have people coming from DuPont, Stillicum, ton of people in Lakewood, ton of people in Parkland, South Hill, Spanaway, and everybody's converging right here into JBLM. So this I-5 is a mess. It is crazy busy. So I would tell you that if you're interested in Olympia, maybe Lacey, let's do that because, you feel like the culture of Olympia or Lacey makes more sense for you than, Tacoma. And I'll link over here in the corner. I will put up the playlist for Olympia so you can see some of the videos we've done on it. So those are two more areas that are really, really popular out here. So what we've done is we've discussed kind of the most popular areas living around Tacoma. That is kind of this space here. We have hit on what it's like to live on Vashon Island, what island life would be like for you. We've discussed the major different spaces inside of the city of Tacoma. We've discussed west side suburbs, what those are. And then we've also looked at, a couple of areas that are different that people tend to really enjoy. So, whether you're looking at making your move here in the next 3 days or 3 months, shoot us a phone call, text, or an email. We got to make this smooth move out here, guys. We know these areas in and out like the back of our hand. It was a pain for me to pack up my family and relocate and move all the way across the country. And I really wish I had somebody showing me this kind of stuff. So shoot us a phone call, text, or an email so we can help you make that smooth move out here to Tacoma.